So in this video I wanted to compare two different types of TouchTone telephone keypads. And for that purpose I have four TouchTone telephones here. And basically I guess I'll start with this one. This is one I've sort of taken apart. Everything's working fine with this. Except the ringer, so I'm trying to figure out what's up with that. It's a hardwired phone, so I've just connected it using mini grabber clips, and then I've got that connected to this Butset Lyman test set connector type thing, basically, with the leads hooked on and the Butset hooked in as well. But the way you take these apart, if you didn't already know, basically, is you sort of pry this number card holder off, and to do that I just used this little thing here. Probably not the best tool for it, but it did work. And then you just unscrew these two screws and it comes right off. And so this is a 35Y3A keypad here, dated January 1973, and it's got a 63A ringer. And so the thing to notice about this keypad is it's fairly springy. So if I go ahead and dial, okay, so that's what's up with that. And you get a second dial tone when you dial 8, so that's why I didn't appear to break dial tone that first time. But if you dial it again, it goes away. And so buttons go down all the way. It has fairly good travel. And I think that was true of all the early 25 and 35, or basically all the 25 and 35 type TouchTone keypads, is that they have fairly good travel. And if you look at the actual mechanism, I haven't taken this apart, but you can see that there's basically mechanical components inside to make this work. And that's the way that this works. So this is one of the earlier generations of TouchTone keypads, where they travel in all the way. And let me go ahead and hang this up. Same thing with this 2500 set here, which I forget when this is dated. I think this was refurbished though, so that's probably not the best indicator. But buttons on here also have fairly good travel. They go in all the way when you press them. What's true with both of these is that they produce the single tones when you hold down a row or a column. So you can sort of hear that. Okay, with this 2500 here, same thing. So buttons go in all the way. That's basically the case with these two. And I presume this has either a 25 or a 35 type keypad. I haven't taken it apart to confirm that, but that's what I would imagine. On the other hand, we have this guy up here, and this is one of the later keypads, and I'll take the cover off here because it doesn't really stay on anyway. But this is a 72H3A keypad dated June 1982, and this is one of the later types. And what's noticeably very different about this First of all, just looking at it, you can tell that this is a much later type. It's not really the mechanical type keypad that this keypad is, for instance, where you can basically see stuff moving down here when you press the buttons. This is I think it's a snap dome keypad, I want to say. I don't know if that's the right terminology. But these buttons basically have no travel. It says in the BSP that they have very little travel. I'd basically say that they have no travel. When you press the button, that's literally all that happens. They don't go in very much at all. And these were produced for a short time, I think probably in the early 80s. The Bell system sort of experimented with this for a few generations of the earlier 72 type keypads, but I've been told that they sort of went back on that later, and that later buttons did have more travel than these do. And with these telephones, or with this type of keypad, it also produces the single tones when you do 2 tones in a column, or 2 buttons in a column or in a row. And for some reason, probably on account of the sort of broken jack in the back here, something weird has happened with this phone between yesterday and today, where if I pick up, I get dial tone, but it's so soft that even I can barely hear it. And something with the levels being very, very low, probably a wire loose. I'm just going to have to open this up and fix the jack some other time. It's really not a priority right now. But it does produce the single tones. The thing to notice, though, is that the buttons don't have very much travel at all. And I have another one of these type of keypads on an AT&T branded phone over here. And so that's a little bit quieter because I have it directly connected to a PSTN line. But these also produce the single tones. And like the other keypad, these buttons also don't have very much travel at all. And I haven't opened this up either, but this phone is also dated 82, it looks like. So I'm pretty sure that these are from right around in the same era, which means that in the early 80s, this type of keypad where the buttons didn't have very much travel seemed to be more of a common thing as they were experimenting with that. And I'm pretty sure that if I did open this up, I would find that this would be an earlier 72 type keypad as well. So that's what I've got on this telephone and on this telephone here. And these two telephones, TouchTone telephones, have the earlier, probably a 35 or a 25 is what's in here. I sort of doubt it's one of the later 72 types that was also springy like this one, but possibly it's that as well. But you can sort of categorize these into 2 major types, where either the buttons have all this travel or they don't have all of this travel. And in my opinion, these types of keypads where they travel is much easier to use. That's sort of why Western Electric, or I guess, yeah, probably still Western Electric after divestiture, if that was sort of when they went back. That's sort of why they went back to this. What I've been told is that with these types of snap dome keypads, the earlier 72s, not only is it sort of awkward to use because you sort of expect these will go all the way in and they don't, but they don't produce a tone until you sort of reach the bottom where you've pressed it in, and then it snaps like that. So these basically click when you push them. Versus these actually sort of go all the way in. and it's very easy to feel and hear that at the same time. So, and these begin producing a tone before they get all the way to the bottom. So there's better audio feedback, and dialing errors on these are less than they would be with this, where a lot of people were double digiting because it was sort of harder to tell that a digit had been dialed. So I definitely much prefer this type of keypad. Here it's just easier to use. It's a nicer experience. So that's that for these two types of telephone keypads, and they sort of modern. I have a Cortelco phone as well in storage somewhere that I'm not using at the moment, and the buttons on that are also sort of, they're not springy like this, but they do go in all the way. They have that travel. So manufacturers have sort of learned over time that buttons like these are really a poor idea for telephones. They don't work very well. So hopefully that wasn't a super long-lived phase, and most telephones you encounter, thankfully, are not like that.